All right, 403 fanatics. One last thing before I drop this thing in. Every 403 I've ever had, I probably had 7 of them or so, has had this machined recess in the back of the crank, which looks for all the world like it's for a standard transmission pilot bearing. But we all know 403s never came with a standard transmission. So I don't know if Oldsmobile at that point in their engineering philosophy finally figured out it was cheaper to just machine all the cranks the same rather than have a different automatic transmission crankshaft and a standard transmission crankshaft. You know, if you know Oldsmobiles, you know an automatic car, you can't just stick a standard transmission in it because there's no hole for the pilot bearing and there's no recess for the depth of the input shaft on the standard transmission. So maybe because 260s were popular back then with the 5-speed transmission for gas mileage, they said, hey, let's just machine them all. I don't know, but every 403 I've seen has had these recesses. And the question was always, is it the right depth and size for a standard transmission? So before I put this one on the car, I figured I would check it. I was gonna check it against my 455, but I can't get back there without pulling it off the stand. And I'm not that worried about it because if you go online, you'll find this document, which is the Oldsmobile pilot bearing and torque converter pilot machining. And it tells you right here what it's supposed to be. So the depth from here all the way in, and it's actually not to the point of the taper, it's to the edge. They're looking for 1-inch 560, 1-inch 440 to 1-inch 560, which is quite a difference. Mine is 1-inch 535. So it's a little bit shy of the highest dimension, but it's way more than the minimum dimension. So I think we're good there. The next laying down, that's where the bearing actually goes, you know, right there. They're looking for 1-inch 219. Mine is like dead nuts, 1-inch 219. If I really screw with it, I may be able to get 1-inch 220. So I think that's right on the money. The next step is 1-inch 360 to 1-inch 378. Mine measures 1-inch 360, right on the money. And again, I'm using T gauges because you can't get in there. I don't have a really long, deep vernier caliper or micrometer, so I'm using T gauges and transferring it, but that's fairly accurate. And then the pilot for the torque converter, they claim it's supposed to be 1-inch, what is that? Is that 06? It's either, looks like 1-inch 457 to 1-inch 965. I can't really read it very well, but mine measures 1-inch, where is it? Mine was 1-inch 700. So if that's, I don't know what that is. That one, it's kind of a given. They're all going to be the same. It's, you know, as I showed you in my Sunbird video, when you put the torque converter to the engine, before you put it in the car rather, you should really put the torque converter to the engine to make sure that your torque converter isn't banged up or full of paint or just the wrong size. Some aftermarket ones are just the wrong size. So I didn't feel like pulling the converter out of the car. But what I did do was take my vernier caliper and go to the back of the crank, and I went to the converter snout. And the back of the crank is 1-inch 700. And the converter snout is about 10 thousandths less than that. So we're good to go there. So there's a quick lesson for you on 403 stick shift conversion. Will it work? Will it not work? I'm in the it will work camp. I can't see why it wouldn't work. It seems to be the exact right dimensions you need. So someone prove me right or wrong. I've seen guys online put standard transmissions in 403 Trans Ams, so someone's doing it. You know, a lot of guys nowadays will just use the converter pilot. There's a bushing that they make, they stick in here that has the right sizes for the input shaft of the transmission, and then you got a counter bore at the back of the crank. But I think on the 403, you're good to go. I don't think you need to do any of that hocus pocus crap. So thought I would impart that upon you guys. So let's get going, drop this thing in my car, and give myself a birthday present. Today is my birthday, so let's get this motor in the car. That's my birthday gift to me. Talk to you later. Here we go, dropping it in. Woohoo! So the motor is in. Everything underneath here, well, for the moment, is bolted up. Transmission's bolted up, motor mount's bolted up, torque converter's bolted up. I had to open one of the holes up for the converter. It was a little bit small for the bolt, but the other two were fine. I don't get that, but whatever, it is what it is. Pan clears by a mile. Everything here clears by a mile. Got a light clearing off there, sorry. Everything clears fine, just like the 455 did. So let me drop it, put the front tires back on it, and I gotta get out of here. Tomorrow is another day. It is nestled in its engine bay. Very comfy. Just gotta do all the peripheral stuff, hook up the exhaust, etc., etc. and we'll be back in business. Brum, brum, brum.